They keep saying it like a fact. Nobody wants to work anymore. You've heard it from politicians, from executives, from toxic news broadcasts. But what if the real question isn't about people not wanting to work? What if it's about people finally refusing to be exploited? Because something is happening right now. Millions are walking away from jobs, from careers, from the grind itself. Not because they are lazy, but because they are awake. In this video, we are diving deep into the real reasons behind the mass disengagement, why millennials and Gen Z are opting out, what's broken in the system, and what it means for the future of work and for your life. One stat you'll hear today might change how you see your paycheck forever. So let's go deeper, because what's happening isn't a trend, it's a shift. And once you understand why it's happening, you'll never see work the same way again. To understand what's happening today, we need to take a step back and ask a deeper question. Did we ever truly want to work in the first place? Let's be clear, nobody ever truly wanted to work in the way capitalism defines it. People want purpose, people want stability, they want to contribute, but nobody wakes up excited to trade their life for someone else's profit. Throughout history, people worked to live. Farming, crafting, building, labor was connected to survival and community. But industrialization broke that connection. Work became clock-ins, quotas, and productivity metrics. Now, it's worse. You're no longer a craftsman, you're a cog. Your worth is measured in KPIs, response times, and burnout masked as commitment. And still, you're expected to be thankful. You're told someone else would love your job, even if it's killing you slowly. But should you really feel grateful to be exhausted, underpaid, and replaceable? When young people say they don't want to work anymore, they're not lazy. They're just not willing to waste their lives playing a rigged game. That disillusionment only deepens when we look at what people are getting in return for their labor today. In 1970, a single income could support a family, a mortgage, even a vacation. Now, two incomes can barely cover rent. Wages have stagnated while the cost of living has exploded. Housing, education, healthcare, even food, everything is up. But your paycheck? It's still stuck in the past. And if you follow the rules, went to school, got the degree, took on debt, you are punished even more. You enter adulthood already in the red, with interest. And what do you get for it? A job that pays less than it costs to live. Even skilled professionals now juggle side gigs just to stay afloat. Being qualified doesn't mean being secure anymore. A single medical bill or rent increase can send everything spiraling. It's not that people don't want to work. They just don't want to work full-time and still be poor. And when survival is no longer guaranteed, the system begins to lose its grip. Maybe you felt it too, checking your email at midnight, wondering if any of this is worth it. Getting a job today feels like applying to win a lottery. You submit hundreds of resumes into faceless application systems. Algorithms toss them out before a human even sees them. And then there is the bait and switch, ghost jobs. Open listings with no intention to hire. Fake recruiters, inflated requirements, an entire ecosystem built to keep you running in circles. And let's talk about what happens if you actually get hired. Suddenly, you're underpaid, micromanaged, and expected to be grateful for the privilege. Meanwhile, loyalty is dead. Companies don't reward dedication, they exploit it. You can give them 10 years and they will lay you off with an email. No warning, no thank you, no care. And if you try to speak up, they'll call it insubordination. They'll say you're not a team player. They'll find someone cheaper and call it a business decision. This isn't a labor shortage. It's a shortage of respect, a shortage of dignity, a shortage of work that doesn't break your spirit. But how did people go from quietly accepting this to walking away by the millions? Something has shifted, and not just economically. There's a cultural awakening happening. People are realizing that life isn't meant to be lived inside a spreadsheet. The pandemic forced people to stop, to reflect, and in that silence, many saw the truth for the first time. They saw that burnout isn't noble, it's exploitation. And they saw that the freedom to work from home, to breathe, to have time with family was always possible. Companies just chose not to allow this until they had no other option. And once people got a taste of that freedom, they didn't want to give it up. Now they're asking real questions. What am I doing all this for? Why am I so exhausted, so anxious, so empty? What would it look like to live, not just work? And for the first time in a long time, they're brave enough to walk away. And for those who stay, it's out of fear. The system has conditioned us to be afraid of stillness, to equate rest with failure. But that fear is fading. And in its place, a different kind of courage is rising. This new awareness also exposes an even bigger deception. The promises we were raised to believe were never real. We were sold a dream: go to school, get a job, work hard, buy a house, retire happy. But the dream was never meant for us. Home ownership is out of reach, healthcare is a gamble, and retirement, that's becoming a fairy tale. Millennials and Gen Z are being told they're entitled, but they're not demanding luxury, they're demanding what was promised: fair pay, basic dignity, a future that isn't built on debt and disappointment. And when they demand that, they're met with condescension. You're lazy, you don't want to work, you want everything handed to you. No, what they want is a life that isn't defined by constant struggle. They're asking for what their parents once had, and even that is now considered a luxury. And here's the part nobody tells you: leaving the system doesn't mean failure. It might mean freedom. Work used to be a means to an end. Now it's become the end itself. We are praised for grinding, for hustling, for staying late, but rarely for leaving. Success is no longer about peace, it's about productivity. Your value is measured by output, not joy, not presence, not humanity. But people are starting to remember something ancient. That meaning comes from relationships, from creativity, from contribution, not compliance. So they are leaving. Some start Etsy shops, others freelance, write, teach, build. Some drive for Uber or flip things online. It's not about getting rich, it's about getting control. They are choosing work that doesn't destroy them, that doesn't demand their soul in exchange for rent money. And that terrifies the system, because a worker who is no longer desperate is a worker who can't be controlled. And that's exactly what they fear most: people waking up to their own power. So where do we go from here? We're at the fork in the road. One path leads back to more hours, more surveillance, more return to office policies, more burnout. The other leads forward to autonomy, purpose, and perhaps even reimagining what work should be. But that second path, it won't be handed to us. Corporations will fight to pull us back. They'll cut remote roles, guilt you with fake culture, punish you for not complying. Why? Because they know that once workers realize their power, the game changes. But here's the truth: we don't have to keep playing a game we never agreed to. We have a choice. Not an easy one, but a necessary one. And more of us are making that choice every day. And maybe the real question isn't why people don't want to work, but why they should want to, under conditions like this. The truth is, people want to work. They want to build, to create, to contribute. They want to solve problems and feel useful. What they don't want is meaningless labor, micromanagement, exploitation, a future where no matter how hard you try, you can't afford to leave. This isn't laziness, it's clarity. People are waking up. And once you're awake, you can't unsee the trap. You don't want to work anymore, not because you're broken, but because the system is. You weren't born to grind. You were born to live, to be present with your kids, to feel the sun on your skin, to create something meaningful, to rest without guilt, to exist without asking for permission. If you're feeling exhausted, uninspired, or like the system just doesn't make sense anymore, you are not alone. You are not broken. You are waking up. And here, on Fog of Work, we talk about the truths most people are too afraid to say out loud. We expose what's broken and imagine what could be better. So if any of this resonated with you, don't just click away. Subscribe and explore the other videos on this channel, because this is bigger than one story. It's a movement, and it's only just beginning. Share this with someone who feels the same. Let them know they're not alone either.